Hey, welcome. It is October 17th, and we're at Real Estate Chat. Jeff Duffee and Blair Thomas. We're going to talk real estate. We're going to talk markets. We're going to talk, how about them Rangers?
Absolutely.
Man, I mean, everyone did not expect. They may have expected best case scenario a split down in Houston, but for the Rangers to come out 2-0, undefeated in the playoffs at 7-0,
7 games. It's
and six
amazing.
of them on the road
Mm-hmm. That is
and winning
crazy.
all of them. That's just amazing. Go Rangers. We'll see what happens tomorrow when they come up here and make the trip and everything. But happy times here in the Metroplex. First off, I want to bring up a couple of key items that have taken place in the market so that you're aware of them, as well as they may create some conversation. Find us, like us on Facebook, YouTube. If you have a question, be sure to put a Q in front of it so that our head monkey butt can make sure that question gets to us quickly. Find us at welcomehomeradio.net and encourage those questions. Right now, credit card debt rose another $200 billion, $1.2 trillion in credit card debt.
Wow.
That means people are living on credit cards. They are not, they're not backing off for some reason. I don't understand this. It scares me to death, Jeff, that prices have gone up, but they're not changing their living standards. This is a concern. What are your thoughts?
It's amazing if you're out and about to see how many people are just shopping willy nilly. But I guess we're already getting the fourth quarter and the holidays are starting. So maybe that's their plan. But still, after the holidays, those come due.
You mean Christmas purchasing were happening earlier? Is that what you're
That's,
saying?
I mean, I'm trying to come up with an excuse, but still, you're not very happy in January when those bills hit your mailbox. That's for sure.
Well,
Um,
speaking of the holidays, I mean, I was scared to death when I saw in the middle of September Halloween decorations going up, and I'm like, this is crazy.
yes,
I've
sir.
never seen it like this. Hey, also want to bring up there were some interesting things. It looks like the MBA, NAR, the realtor organization, NAHB, are all urging the Fed to stop hikes. Again, affordability. Have you heard of the NAR affordability index?
I have.
Ever since it was created in 1989, literally, it's been in the 90s the whole time, as low as 93, up as 98, 99. And what this takes in is the median income of the United States and the ability to buy a home. Well, it went to 91.7, first time ever. That's the lowest it's ever been in the history of the index. And the problem with it is that it takes in a 17-year-old with medium income of 17 as a barista or $20,000. And of course, they're not in the market. They're not going to be buying.
Right.
So I question the index a little bit, but again, it is an indication of where we're at in the market, that even this index, considering affordability, is not there. So I thought that was rather interesting. We did see mortgage applications rising 1%, but that doesn't mean much when you're already 9% below year over year from last year. So at least it's moving in the right way. Other things are conventional mortgages move from 726.2 to 750.
Mhm.
750,000 is a standard loan limit for conventional mortgage. I thought that was really interesting. But an interesting stat came out. NRA reports 300,000 realtors have quit the industry from the beginning of the year to today's date. They expect another 300,000 before January. So that'll put them right around 1 million, 1 million, 1.1 million. Well, loan officers, we've already seen 177,000
Mhm.
have gone down to 99, and we expect that to be at
December.
80,000 by January. So the market is changing. The market is definitely there, but something happened that I think is worth our conversation to try to understand. September, 60,000 signed contracts were stopped by the buyer. just alone in September. Why was that? That's my question. Why?
And is that, do we know by chance on an average, is that, how big of a jump is that?
That is literally like 66% jump.
That's big.
I mean, that is the largest number of stop purchases. These are contracts signed, executed, started in the process. 60,000 of them were stopped by the buyer. Now, is that because the appraisal didn't, it came in short? I don't, not much. I mean, that could
that
be.
shouldn't grow. You shouldn't be that far off getting to that point.
Is it sticker shock?
Maybe layoffs. I mean, like you just talked about,
Layoffs.
we're talking about our industry as far as real estate. People get out of the industry or don't renew their license, but we know several, quite a few large companies they're laying off.
So, how do we? I mean, if we understand that data point, and I'd like to go further with it, I want to try to help create bulletproof buyers. Reasons why to get into the market as opposed to reason to scare. Now, if you're first time home buyer, I can understand sticker shock. That just means your loan officer did not prepare you very well, did not give you an insight. I mean, I will say and I'm looking at the market right now, since September the 11th, rates have been nothing but a downturn. And so that's almost, over 40 days of the rates getting worse than what they were. So I understand that being in September, but if we create bulletproof buyers by educating them in the market, I mean, I'm still looking at since 1943, them tracking real estate, tracking interest rates, tracking mortgages. And again, I want to restate, we are the only country that has 30-year fixed mortgages. Everyone else in the world deals with ARMs. That means their payment may go up, may go down. It's going to change with the market.
And there's no control.
So we take this in and we look at a 30-year fix since 1943. There's only been 7 years that it's been down in equity growth or appreciation of a home asset. 90% win rate.
Right.
This is a sure bet. It doesn't matter whether it's 7.5 or 3.5 or 13%. It's still a win situation for you as an investment tool. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And now, do you think some of this, when you said sticker shock for some buyers, especially first-time homeowners, preparing themselves to say, okay, you're approved, you're approved for this amount, but now wait a minute, what percentage of that is of your income? And is that holding them differently to say you need to stay in the right percentage just because you've got an approval up to X amount? Doesn't mean you need to go buy a house at the top of that amount, percentage-wise for your income. So do you think that plays a role into it as far as some sticker shock for people if they're not being educated properly? Or
well, I think it's an education process. No matter what the reason that they stopped or turned, it could be because of the inspection and there was so much to fix they weren't willing to invest money into, and the seller was not willing to renegotiate.
Right.
So there could be so many different reasons for it, but creating a bulletproof buyer means they understand this is an investment opportunity. I look at it as myself. Okay, as a loan officer, am I selling debt or am I selling a wealth plan, a growth plan for a family?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm just selling debt, then yeah, all I'm in is turning numbers, and yeah, interest rates are going to bother me, and so forth. Numbers are going to bother me. But if I'm saying, look, here is a 90% win rate in real estate, and let's bring out the data point. Anybody, let's talk net worth. When I say net worth, what does net worth mean to you?
Net worth, it encompasses everything that I own, my assets. I got to pull it all in together. When I say net worth, then I come up with that number minus the debt.
Minus the debt, minus the liability. So people that have $750,000 in net worth or more, not less, but more, 75%, every one of them, 75% is made up of real estate. So what does that tell me? If you want to be in that net worth, you could have somebody that owns $1 million home, owns the BMW, does all that, but their net worth is still around maybe 100,000 because they owe so much every month. Or you could be somebody that has paid off everything and allowed their real estate to grow, and all of a sudden your net worth is above because you paid your bills, you've done your things. It grows with you. But to me, if I want to get into anywhere in that, $750,000, even $500,000 net worth, I want to be in real estate, at least for my primary property, minimally.
Right.
And to me, if we're creating that bulletproof borrower, then they need to understand that target. I'm ready. You've asked the hard questions. Hey, in 30 to 60 days, are you willing to put an offer? And if it's accepted going forward, are you willing to do all that? Because moving's hard, selling the home, or if you don't have to sell, negotiating contracts, getting out of rent, all of these things have to line up, but it's hard work. But to me, it's the start of a wealth program for you, the family, the individual, the couple, that is, I'm committed to this. I want to do this. And whether it's a half a point, a quarter of a point change, because we haven't locked yet, it should not matter. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. So just because I want to move out and not live with my parents anymore, that's not a good enough reason.
That's true. I mean,
I know that's what people think, but that's the whole point of you educating them and bringing them up to understand what they're getting into sometimes.
Well, I mean, if we respect Warren Buffett, if we take somebody like Warren Buffett, who evidently understands economics, understands investments, understands the cost of dollars, but has made his money with good plays, good money. I mean, he just made an $814 billion bet. It's in real estate, and he understands something that you and I probably even don't.
Right.
But the everyday buyer wanting just to have a home and get out of the rent race needs to understand that this is a solid bet. Somebody like that does not make that type of bet, that type of push, without an understanding of my future is this. Now, again, if you're being a flipper, you're not going to be there for 2 years or less. This is not a play for you. But if you're going to stay in that home at least 5 to 7 years, there's appreciation value. And North Texas, it's blowing the doors off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my own home in 5 years is going to grow $154,000 estimated, just based on the transactions and the history of what's happening here in Collin County. So that's just amazing to me.
And Blair, if anybody is listening that would like, you and I both have like an app and the tools that can reach out to us. We can show you exactly what is spent and the growth of the value of your property between renting. Let's say you can pick 5 years, you can pick 7, you can do 10 years, and you can see the difference in money, not only the value of the property increasing, but how much less you've spent overall in your purchase and not in a rental.
And by far, that is exactly right on. We've got those tools. The cost of waiting is a true cost, and I can show you that. Whether you wait 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it can be 6 digits in value of cost of waiting. And everybody's been hearing, you've seen the media talk about, well, home prices are going to come down. They're not. I don't know where the media is coming off. They're coming short. The bottom line is, we see homes that are overpriced that come down in price to sell, but everything is still above that price. They're growing. They're still making money.
Well, anybody who's even purchased in the last 5 years is thinking, I had to put an extra $20,000 down to get my offer accepted. I'm not going to accept anything less. So they're waiting out. And buyers, and we're seeing the buyers go to builders a lot because builders are throwing those incentives at them. So
builders are, and they're a good market to be in. Custom home builders do, where you can finance your own and save some of that money that you do with a standard builder.
Right.
nothing against D.R. Horton or Lennar or any of those that Warren Buffett bet on. Custom home builders allow you to build the type of home you want. And again, they generally have a cost plus scenario that minimizes your cost, but you're actually financing the whole project. And so
if you prefer, we know a few, you and I both know, that will do a flat fee as well now. So you have an option there as to what works best for your project, and Blair knows how to work with them.
That is true. That is true. But what is really stopping these people? If it's sticker shock or what are the other reasonings? I'm trying to understand it, because I can't get any answers right now, or I haven't heard any solid answers of, here are the 5 key reasons that September these people backed out. Sticker shock was one. Inspection of home did not come up to par. Seller not negotiable. Everybody walked away from the deal. I don't know. Loan program change, and I wasn't told, so therefore I walked away. That could be the value, and that's not a bad decision. But why 60,000? That number is just, it's amazing to me that 66% in September walked away from buying, whether it's their first home, their second home, or their next home.
Right. And like you said, these aren't people who are just, I'm starting to think about it. They were under contract.
They were under contract.
I'm just trying to reiterate.
Yeah, this is not, I'm going to step away from the market for a while and wait. I got a pre-approval, but I'm waiting. No, these are people that signed on the dotted line, probably at best walked away with no loss of dollars, and some of them at worst walked away with losing their earnest money. So I think that's a key data point for our market right now to understand. If you're going to play in this, if you want to play in this market, it's not a time to be, what is it, when you jump in the pool, dipping your toe in, you're either jumping in belly flop or you're not, because it can cost you, but it also, the opportunities, you got to be serious about it and ready to go with the market. Do you have any other ideas or thoughts on that?
Not to the reasons why, and at least, I'm attending and going to our various meetings and information get-togethers, and I haven't heard a specific reason that anybody's put pointed their finger on, said, here we go.
Well, the worst thing,
the fluctuations. What we've seen, though, when you've looked at charts of some of these meetings, that you can see the fluctuation get so fine line, and I'm backwards here at the screen, the way the rates this whole year have just been day to day. Blair, you tell me, there's been times where, I know you look at it every day, but instead of seeing it change in a few days or something happen, like almost several times in one day, you're having to keep up with it. So when you see it in a graph like that, it's really amazing as to why people go, all right, go, no, wait, no, go. What's going to be your best scenario is, for everybody, obviously.
And that's where, again, you bring up rate, where to me, rate doesn't matter.
No.
It's cost of using dollars, others that you don't have. And yeah, when I got into the industry, you could have a rate change and it would last 3 weeks. And we understand that. Now it can move and fluctuate in one day, 3 different directions if you don't watch it. And so that is an education process, but it's also a commitment process. Are we willing to move forward with this bet? Because I can show you whether rates are at 4 or 7, it does not matter. You're still going to make money in this bet.
I've heard it on a couple of different commercials on different things. Date the rate. Is that what it was? Date the home, or marry the home, date the rate.
Marry the home, date the rate.
Okay, I've heard that used more than once. That's for sure. So it makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. It does. You don't want to be home poor. I understand that. Maybe you back off of what you want. And what I find more and more is that first-time home buyers, they want what their mom and dad have now, and that's unrealistic.
True.
There is a maturation period of growth of starter home. Let's have our first home. Let's have our first dog. Have our first kid. Blah blah. And this home can be resold, and then we springboard.
building wealth. Sorry, I'm starting to laugh because we did hang on to our first home for a while. Wish I would have held on to it even longer, as you mentioned. Just everybody keep that in mind. In the moment, sometimes you think we could use that cash, but in the long run, not too long ago, we saw exactly what it sold for again in the last year or so, and it was like, oh, just shouldn't have even looked at it. And it was not. It's not a big home, but man, with the way the values have changed in our market,
Yeah.
it's just you're not going to lose out in the long run.
No, you're not. And that's where, again, if you're out there, like us, share us, ask your questions. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the industry, where we're at, what's happening. Is there a topic you'd like us to discuss? We'll be glad to give our opinions or actually research and bring an expert on to discuss that as well. But I'm just trying to react to the market because I'm sitting here looking at a year long of the market rates, just seeing it. And we are at the lowest pinnacle right now. And we're still at 7.5%. I'm at 7 on most of mine. I can get into the sixes fairly easy.
Wait, did you just say we're at the lowest right now? Wow.
We're at the highest in rates, but we're
Right.
at the lowest on the bond market. We're at 97.178. And we have not been there in the last year. Let's see if we've been here in the last 2 years. Nope. In the last 2 years, we are at
The pinnacle, huh?
yeah, we're 97.178, and we have never been here in the last 2 years, where 2 years ago it was at 112.
Wow.
So it has changed. But if we look historically across the board, since 1943, monitoring and grading analysis on rate, guess what the average rate is?
Since 19 what?
1943.
6.5.
7.75 is the average rate.
Wow.
Average across the market all those years, and we're not even there yet. I'm right at 7 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there could be a rate sheet change today where the market's going for whatever reason. I think it's a lot of media hype. We had the BLS jobs numbers this past Friday, and experts are trying to figure out, where did they get these numbers at? How did we grow across all of this? And looking back, we've had the last 6 months, they've revised the jobs numbers every month. They've put out a number of 200,000, revised it by 55,000 down. There wasn't that many jobs, but they don't promote that. They don't announce that. They announce a positive jobs number so that the market will respond positively. And
why
now
do they want that to be lower, though? Why do they're wanting that number to be lower, like 2 jobs per?
No, they want it to be higher to show that the economy's running.
Sure.
And it was at 336,000 jobs created in September. Right. That doesn't add up with the other jobs report numbers that we get, but that's the one they look at the Fed to say, okay, the economy's doing well. And the bottom line is, I'm thinking it's manipulated. They're handwriting it, because what happens next year?
Election time.
Election year.
Imagine that.
And boy, don't I want the economy to look good and strong for the existing administration so that they can point their finger to it.
Look what we did.
Look it's working. Bidenomics works. I just think that's what they're doing, because every time the jobs numbers are edited 2 months later, and they've downed them every time, and yet the other jobs reports that we get from ADP and so forth, they're accurate. They're exactly where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We saw 22,000 full-time jobs lost in September. We saw 153,000 multiple jobs, part-timers having 2 jobs to make ends meet. That's what's grown. But we still have this over 175,000 people sitting there just collecting benefits and not looking for a job, or they got out of the market and stopped looking altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't understand why they're doing this, but the data it seems to be flawed in the ways they're looking at things.
Well, when they try to say they want to control inflation, there's really not many things they have control over. So when they start manipulating, right? Is that fair? I'm getting on my soapbox now because moving the rates and adjusting those items around affects our industry obviously a lot, and it eventually, if somehow down the road, affects everybody. When, like I said, just because of buying or selling properties, but isn't that the only real aspect of what they can try to control for inflation? Agree or disagree? Do you think?
I agree with you because what they're looking at is shelter cost. The
Mm-hmm.
shelter cost lag of core CPI is already showing us at 2.9% inflation right now.
Mm-hmm.
That gives us a somewhat tainted view of where they're thinking we're at. We're still at 4.4. But the bottom line of it is it's a lag effect. Actual documentation, actual economics, the numbers flow are a lag. And therefore they're manipulating to keep it here where the market would love it to be more here.
Right.
And they want the bond market to react. Oh, we're doing great in the economy. They want the mortgage-backed securities to be uh, greater, higher, so that rates stay up. And it's just not. Things aren't adding up as the lag effect comes in, and we are at the lowest point that we've been in the last since what was it, January of 2022.
Hmm.
But they ignore that number and go with the shelter cost or CPI, and that's where they're coming up with their 4.3. And so we're not at 2% inflation yet. We got to still press on with higher rates, higher this, and it's overdoing it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like taking a good steak and no, it's not juicy enough. Let's cook it longer.
That's not going to work.
Well, it's not. It's not going to work. It's scary, and what it also does, the media scares people in this look, and I also see people that think they have everything researched online, and I'm still finding it interesting that
You're still finding it interesting that, well, as you get linked back up, you're frozen in a very thoughtful moment. All right. Well, you're not back just yet. So I think the point you're trying to bring out. Oh,
am I back?
there you are. I
Hey,
didn't want to go somewhere else because you had an interesting point you were making and you froze.
I'm so, isn't technology great? Um, I just find it interesting. People are researching online and they trust what they find online so much that a business that's prepared to back them with money, back them, tell them here's what the costs are. But yet, yeah, go online. If you believe you can get 5% interest rate right now, go with them, please. I want you to go that route. That's what's best for you. And then, it's not
It's
true,
called
but
debate, isn't it?
it's a bait and switch. Sure it is. But they also have pride that they don't want to come back to somebody that is actually upfront every time. And that's what I find interesting. Well, this is what it says online. This is what it said it should be. Where is these rates come?
Embarrassment shouldn't get in the way of getting a better deal long term and who you're working with and who you're getting your mortgage with. There's no doubt about it. Remember, it's more than likely a 30-year mortgage you're taking on with this company. So uh, don't worry about being embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, what finds I had a thought, but it's the bottom line of it is people don't understand that your relationship with a loan officer and a loan company starts when you fund the loan, not ends. So many people don't understand. I'm there. That's why I try to go and sign at every closing to let them know I'm a part of this loan from now on. I'm here to help you from now on. If we find we can get better rates and we refinance later, we want to help you. I'm a part of that, but so many people discount that, and that person's not important, like you said. And if they're going to start out the relationship this way with you, what's going to happen down the road?
Right.
So Now I know you had a couple of topics.
Me? Are you kidding? No, I thought I wanted to know what you've heard and what you're seeing with the lawsuit that's going on in our industry. Are you familiar with that much?
I'm aware of multiple lawsuits going on. I've heard of closures of a few. Which one are you speaking of?
Well, there's one going on right now against NAR. And now I want to say this very quickly. I'm not an attorney. I've been in title for 30 years, so I'm not part of this case. I'm letting you know a few things that I understand is happening, but it is going to be impactful in our industry. Mm-hmm. And that is the commission lawsuit that's taking place.
Yeah.
It started in 3 states. I can't list them, but it's grown to it's in the federal courts, and the suit claims and feels like there's been agreed. People have wondering what they're paying commissions for and whether they're getting their money worth. That's one way to put it. So with the lawsuit, what's really, I think, all in all, that's going to come down and change is a agent representing a buyer is not guaranteed that seller is paying 6% commissions on the transaction. And that's what it boils down to. So if the seller says, I only want to pay 4 or 3 or whatever, if that agent representing the buyers will need to be able to turn to them, or the buyers may be picking up a percentage of their commissions. That's all negotiable. And that's all in being able to show your value, I think, when you meet with your clients. It's not just a given anymore, Mr. Buyer, hey, you don't have to pay me. It's everybody's going to be involved. So your negotiation skills are going to need to be better, is the way I understand it. That's the way I see it. But it is going to change. There's a lot of my clients and friends who are going, Jeff, don't worry about it. They're going to clean this up. There's going to be some changes happening. Some brokers have already settled and gotten out.
But what are they cleaning up? Because, I understand you're wanting your home to sell.
Right.
I mean,
as a seller, I think a lot of sellers are going to have that mindset now. Well, I don't need to pay 6%. Well, if you want, hopefully you're having good representation for both parties. And that's the goal as an agent, right? So yeah, I see a lot of sellers just immediately going, well, no, I don't need to do that. Let's see how it goes. That's
that's a little, I think it's scary a little bit from my perspective as a seller. I want a good deal done. But if I'm just being purely greedy and I'm going to pay my realtor and that's it, going into the relationship, I mean, it will be harder. I mean, are we going to see more FSBOs out of this?
That's a very good question. And then what I'm curious to ask you, one of the real reasons I brought this up for you, I'm curious if I'm buying a home and I come to you to obtain my loan, can I say, Blair, I've offered $500,000 on this home. Can I also add in 2% to pay my agent, that it's not coming directly out of my pocket? How do we just adjust the sales price a little bit to say, okay, Jeff, you're not coming out of pocket if I'm going to have to pay my own agent as a buyer? What do you see in the loan side?
I see it being able to be done, but the appraisal is going to have to cover that home in value. And you have to understand that if the appraisal comes in short, that will come out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing we could do. I mean, because we're held to, one of the things, you remember when we used to do no cost loans?
Yes, sir.
Everybody used to, oh man, I had a veteran recently come to me going, I have never paid any closing costs. Oh my God. Yeah, you have. You paid closing costs, but you haven't understood how it was paid. And how that is done is we raise the rate and we take that difference of that rate cost and apply it to your closing cost. And we're able to do that. You're still paying for it.
Right.
Right now, with the way rates are, there's no par rate at 100%, or where we could go above 100%. Everything's less than par rate. So the bottom line of it is there's not a way to do that. So again, the appraisal has to come in to cover that. And if it does, then yeah, that can happen. But understand, if it doesn't, that fee will come out of your closing cost, your cash up front. So that's how I see it.
Well, it was scheduled to be maybe it might have been yesterday, I think, but it was getting pushed. Our division president is going to be hosting some meetings and giving some more detailed information. So once I listen to those we've got coming up, I'll have a little more info we can talk about. But I do think it's interesting because so many people think so many times this is going away. It's not going to go away. So our industry will change. It's not. I don't know for the better or for the worse, but it's going to change. So we have to be ready to adapt.
I have never liked unions. Um, I did in my MBA studies. We got to go to union workers. Ryder was one of them right here at Love Field, where they
Mhm.
rebuild jet engines and all that, and union workers. And we actually got to walk the plant. And I started asking some questions. I was that bold, brash military guy that didn't care if you liked me or didn't like, you know. But
You
I asked the questions of the section chief. I said, this young guy that's working so hard in front of us, and you're sitting over here and you're managing. I know you've been here longer than him. Oh yeah, I've been here 20 years longer. But is there any way he could ever take your job or even go above? Is there opportunity if he's really a go-getter and he's smart and he wants to do and he works hard? No. I mean, there's in a union, there's always that stages of changes. And I hate to say it, but I think NAR is a union. And I see the breaking up of NAR, or at least the questioning of some of their philosophies and or boundaries, is good for our industry because you know what? It requires professionalism. It requires clients to interview and find somebody they trust and that's going to work for them, and not just somebody that, oh, so and so recommended. And you know, because there's a lot of people that get in as realtors, if you and I agree, part time, and because they get to do a one off from a cousin or a friend or something, and they
Mhm.
may do one or two deals a year, but they are making 3% commission on some large opportunities, but they're not professional in the industry. And I think that's why we're cutting back. My own company has cut 350 jobs.
Right.
Most of them are not loan officers. Most of them are processing or, you know, augmentation group. But of that 350, there were loan officers as well, non-performing. Um, I think the industry is going to be better for all the changes. So I see it as a positive. Any questioning of something going through,
Right.
you know, the outcome of it, I don't know. It's just like, why do we always have the seller pay title? Whenever it says in the regs, the buyer has the right to choose the title company.
Right.
I, I asked you that question when I got in the industry, if I remember. Why does that happen? And
There's a point at which it's a comfort level, and it's not necessarily about the buyer or the seller, but they're also trusting their representation to make
exactly.
sure and oversee that everything's going smoothly. That goes
Well,
back to that professionalism.
I hate to hear the words. It's always been done that way, and that's what I think is one of those things. It's always been done, and I see that court case as challenging. Hey, it's always been done that way. Well,
Right.
is there not a better way?
Hmm.
Now, if the seller takes it to the point of going, I refuse because of my own greed, then it may slow down the
It may not.
ability to sell your home.
Yeah, $2,500 may not benefit you. As far as your long-term plans and
Yeah, it just, I think it requires sellers, buyers to be more educated, understanding the process. I mean, I'll be honest, when I bought my first home and built it, I didn't understand.
sure.
Oh, I can afford it. Okay, sign the line, go on. I want the home. I'm emotional about this, as opposed to taking the time, looking at all the things, and going that route. A good thought. I I'm aware of the court case, but I'm also aware of several other court cases that are going on about
Oh yeah.
brokerages and it's somewhat getting pointing finger nasty out there. I will announce a change here at Cardinal that I just got this morning.
Okay.
I was shocked. I have to follow up on it, but it appears that we have turned where we just started this year doing reverse mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
We are now stopping that because of the 10-year is so high. It doesn't make sense for a buyer that we're going to stop that opportunity. We're putting reverse mortgage into the QM board, and we're going to broker it.
Okay.
I'm interested at the data points that my higher ups have gone this route because they sent out a flash email to those that are certified at reverse, and it's quite a change, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they've been around for a while. That last rule change seemed to benefit the consumer without a doubt, but obviously there's something there that.
Well, I think the fees are changing from the organization and the government so much that it makes it almost not good to have it on board because we're probably paying. We have a group that did nothing but reverse mortgages. I'm wondering if that whole group is gone now. I don't know.
That'd be interesting for sure.
Because you can't broker. You can't have a whole group online brokering, just one set products.
Right.
So I'm going to find out more, but that is an interesting data point for me in my mind, how they read the market, what's going on with the market, blah, blah, blah. So what else you got?
Well, I was surprised you didn't make fun of me because my eye. I didn't realize till I got on camera.
Well, I thought you would bring it out.
I was feeding the horses last night, and one of them turned getting his treat, and he hit me right in the eyeball with his nose, and that I didn't realize until I got on camera.
Sure. That horse you were wrestling with the horse and you lost. I know.
No doubt. My daughter rides, not me.
Wait a minute. Why is dad out there if daughter rides? Come on now.
She's senior final semester at North Texas, so her labs were late. So I would rather her knock that out, and I'll take care of a horse one evening or two.
You graduate in December?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're proud of her.
Should be. That's neat. What's she planning to do with that now?
She is an ecology major, and she actually already has, if you're familiar with the Herd Museum in the McKinney-Fairview area, she is their prairie, the manager. They have 200, I think, and 90 acres. It's a preserve, and she's their field scientist, and she's the sanctuary manager, something. So she's already got a good job.
So you can hook me up with the hunting.
Oh, no. This is a preserve, a sanctuary. You must have missed those words.
I didn't miss the words. I just thought one hunting day,
Actually, they did mention one time a while back they had some hogs coming in. I was like, I've got buddies. We can take care of that for you real easy one night.
Overnight, brother. Overnight.
we are a museum. You can't. I said, bows are quiet. So,
we got suppressors.
That volunteer has not been accepted yet.
Well, now you're going to have an in with the curator now, so
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, anything that's bugs or plants, she loves it and she's into it. So,
tell her to write me a paper or inform me why a mosquito is of value here in our world. Okay.
All right.
I don't understand.
Wait till our next meeting.
Yeah, get her to come on here. I want to understand if you're talking about bugs, mites. I mean, mosquitoes. I can think of a few of these creatures that are.
I guarantee you, I'll have her give me some points to bring to you next time.
Well, I appreciate your time today,
Enjoy
sir. It's been a great conversation. Again, like us, share us, see us out there on YouTube as well as Facebook. Ask your questions. Bring us along and let us know what topics you would like to hear.
Yes,
I'm Blair
please.
Thomas.
I'm Jeff Duffee.
God bless.